Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. Want to welcome you all on this Monday evening, straight from Tampa, Florida, where it's kind of a little bit chilly tonight, about 40 degrees. They said it's going to be a little chilly, and obviously it is going to be. But we have lots and lots of sports topics to talk to you about tonight. And then we have a great guest as well to talk with you about as well in about 15 minutes. The great, you know him as the Hitman, played in the 70s, played in the 80s, Mike Easler, my former Pittsburgh Pirate of We Are Family during the 1991 World Series team. And he also played for the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox as well. So a great show for you all this evening. Thank you so very much for joining us. We have undefeated teams going down. We're going to talk a little bit about USF and our show tomorrow. We have also a little bit of Buccaneer talk before or after Mike Easler comes on. So just a great show for you. For those of you that are listening, that are watching, if you want to please go ahead, tap your timeline real quickly. I want to welcome my good buddy, Tommy to the show. We'll talk a little bit about, I know he wants to talk some Buccaneer football from Temple Terrace. We'll do that. But before we get into it, some sad news out of the baseball world today, especially if you are a baseball fan. Sad news today that Dick Allen, one of the most probably fearsome hitters of his era, passed away Monday at the age of 78. He played 15 seasons from 63 to 1977. He banged out 351 homers, played 15 seasons. I know 9 of them with the Phillies, 3 of them with the White Sox. He won the 1972 AL MVP and 1964 NL Rookie of the Year. And he also played, I think, a year for the Cardinals, Dodgers, and Athletics. So, very sad day in Major League Baseball. Let's take about a minute or so just to find a little bit of information about the great late Dick Allen.
Phillies legend Dick Allen dies at 78. Dick Allen, the former Phillies slugger who won over a generation of fans by blasting home runs that often left Connie Mack Stadium, died Monday at his home in Wampum, PA. He was 78. Mr. Allen played 9 of his 15 major league seasons in Philadelphia, beginning his career as the Rookie of the Year for the star-crossed 1964 Phillies. He hit .318 as a rookie with 29 home runs, which frequently soared over the ballpark's left field roof and into North Philadelphia. Mr. Allen was a 7-time All-Star and won the American League MVP award in 1972 with the White Sox. He also played for the Cardinals, Dodgers, and Athletics and finished his career in 1977 with a .292 batting average and 351 home runs. "I'm just a name," Mr. Allen said in 1976. "God put some talent in this body, and I just use it. I don't think of the aches and pains. I just thank God for the talent that I have." Mr. Allen is considered to be one of the greatest players to not yet reach the Hall of Fame. There was hope that would change this month when the Hall of Fame was scheduled to vote on Allen's candidacy, but the coronavirus pandemic forced the Hall to postpone the vote to December 2021. Mr. Allen was 1 vote shy in 2014. Mr. Allen was baseball's best hitter over the first decade of his career, as Allen's 165 OPS plus from 1964 to 1973 led the majors, better than all-time greats such as Hank Aaron, Harmon Killebrew, and Willie McCovey.
Yes, he was definitely a great hitter. I mean, he played at a very difficult time, as you all know, in Major League Baseball. Lots of racism back there in the 60s that he had to deal with. But a great player. We said, he won the MVP, won Rookie of the Year, and just was feared throughout the league with his amazing ability to hit the long ball. So, once again, Dick Allen, our prayers go out to his family. Just a great, great, great career. Now, for those of you that missed it over the weekend, we're not going to get into too much detail tonight because we got our show tomorrow night, Bullseye. But I want to remind you all that the women's basketball team, what an unbelievable win. 67-63 over Mississippi State, the number 6 ranked team in the women's basketball. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. I don't look too much at the rankings and the polls this early in the season, and we'll discuss this more on Bullseye tomorrow night. But they're only 26, and here's a team that brought the number 14 Baylor to the brink of losing, and then they, handled Baylor. And handled Mississippi State, and they're not in it. But me, myself, Bradley Lewis Walker, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Congratulations to Eliza Pinzin, who was named Player of the Week, had 14 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, only 1 assist away from a triple-double, and also to Bethany Manunga, who had 12 rebounds. So a big, big win for the women's basketball team. And then, let's see if I can find this here as we move everything around here. Then let's not forget the men's basketball team as well. They will play. They beat FGSU convincingly by 19 points. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. And also, they will be playing tomorrow versus Stetson. They play at 5 p.m. tomorrow versus Stenton's. So we want to make sure that, we'll get you up to date on that tomorrow night as well, as our computer is doing tricks around here. But there we go. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. And let's get that out of the way. And we do want to remind you, for those of you who view with us continuously, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, he was the first scholarship to ever be signed by a USF men's basketball player, Bill Lear. That's right, Bill Lear from 1970-71 season will be joining us live. That's right. He will be joining us live on Bullseye tomorrow. For those of you that do not have a Bullseye channel, that love USF sports, you got to become a member. Go to either your Facebook page. That would be the easiest way to go to Bullseye. All capital letters, BULLS, and then, of course, IEYE, capital letters, and become a member. It is free. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which will also go ahead and play the Bullseye show live as it is this show right now. You go to YouTube, you go to Frankly Speaking Sports, and if it doesn't get any better, you can watch the replay on our Twitter account at Larry Frankus. That's with a U.S. at the end. So lots and lots of different ways to be able to watch these shows and to interact with us as well. Now, a couple late-breaking news. Let's start out. First of all, if you have not heard it, there are no more undefeated teams in the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers went down today to the Washington Redskins by a final score of 23-17. So there are no teams anymore that are undefeated. That's the first loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Also making news was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Jaden Mickens, who had 125 yards career return and punt yardage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has been released. So Mickens has been released, and you expected someone had to go with all these wide receivers as they got healthy, as the bye week was coming to an end. You knew some move had to be made, and it's just so that Mickens is the one who is being released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We also, after this, we are going to talk about today the very controversial play in the New York Jets versus the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday. If for those of you that have not seen it, after the interview with Mike Easler, we will go ahead and discuss that play in detail. We will show highlights of that play as well. But we also want to remind you, if you're not aware of it, because it's being done virtually, the Tampa Bay Rays and all of Major League Baseball right now is doing a virtual winter meetings. What does that mean? It just means they're not meeting in person, basically. This is the time of year when a lot of big trades, a lot of free agent signings go on. And right now, your Tampa Bay Rays are, very involved, and they're looking for, obviously, they're still looking for pitching. They lost Charlie Morton, so they're looking for pitching, and they're also looking for a catcher. You got to remember, they right now currently do not have any catcher on this team. A lot of catchers out there. Real Muto is being talked about and being traded. You got James McCann is out there. They are still talking about Mike Zunino, who had a terrific playoff series and World Series with your Tampa Bay Rays, as re-signing him possibly. Kevin Smith is out there as well. So a lot's going to be going on. You want to stay tuned to Frankly Speaking Sports, especially our group page, as we get information on any moves that your Tampa Bay Rays do make. We will go ahead and we will bring it to you as quickly and factual as possible. But I would expect something to go down. Right now, there's a lot. There's a very good chance, if it isn't during this week, it could be this week, folks, but if it isn't this week, by the beginning of spring training, that you may see both Kevin Kiermaier and Blake Snell in other uniforms rather than the Tampa Bay Rays. Those are some guys that are being paid higher salaries on the team. And remember, in a year where a lot of Major League Baseball teams, especially a team like your Tampa Bay Rays, were losing money, they're going to be looking to cut different ways. And by cutting a Kiermaier loose, and by cutting a Blake Snell loose and trading them to another team, they are looking at opportunities to get some young players back and use some of that money, hopefully to acquire a catcher. They talk about pitching depth. And, I think they're overlooking a couple things. Yes, they could use another pitcher. But remember, this is a team out there, your Tampa Bay Rays, that currently have Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell as of now, if they don't trade him. And then they got a lot of young arms. McClanahan is going to be used as a starter right now. Chirinos, I think, is going to still be out with his arm. But you have Yarbrough as well. So this is a team that could use another starting pitcher. But they've also been known to go to some of these young guys like Josh Fleming, who they used last year during the playoffs, who did very well. So when it comes to pitching, I never worry too much about your Tampa Bay Rays. I'm just looking if I got a message here, not yet. Okay, so we will keep you updated on all the latest news. Stay tuned to Frankly Speaking Sports, and we will go ahead and do that for you. Want to remind you all that I'm going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game this weekend. Once again, there is the 10th annual toy drive, which is put on by What the Buck Really Matters. Let me see if I can get that. Let's go to our screen here. See if we can get this logo off a minute. There you go. All right, looks much better. We can go ahead and, we are looking to help kids out. What the Buck Really Matters is doing their 10th annual toy drive. Bring a new unripe toy to donate to the tailgate party before the Vikings game this Sunday. For the Vikings game, go down to Ohio Street. Help bring a smile to a child's face. There are so many children this year that are in need of your help. And it can take something as small as one gift, unwrapped gift, to make a difference in a child's Christmas. We're asking for your help. We're asking all of the different individuals, all the different groups that are involved with Frankly Speaking Sports and Bullseye to go ahead, get involved, grab a toy, leave it at the What the Buck Really Matters tailgate party this upcoming Sunday before the Minnesota Vikings game. And in advance, we want to thank you so much for, doing anything you can help to make one child smile during this holiday season. And we'll probably do that announcement again before the show is over. But what a great, great thing to do. Just amazing what the Buck continues to do, what crewforlife.com continues to do to help other people out in the community. We are just a couple of moments away from having Mike the Hitman Easler on the show with us. And once again, I know I'm getting quite a few comments here on the text line about this play that happened in the Jets and Raiders game yesterday. And we're going to talk about it after the Mike Easler, who we're expecting in the next couple of minutes to join us. I don't want to go ahead and start it and then not be able to complete it. But while we're waiting for Mike, if anybody wants to go ahead, try calling in before Mike gets on. He'll be on in the next 2 to 3 minutes. You can go ahead and do so. We'll be more than happy if we can answer the phone before Mike gets on. We will definitely go ahead and do so. Yeah, hold on. Let me text Mike back. Okay, you. Let me see if he has a computer. If not, we're going to go ahead and talk to Mike on the phone. Let me see what he says back. Doesn't know if he is near a computer. So we'll find out for him. If not, we'll go ahead, get him on the phone, and we'll do it through audio. So he's texting me back right now. Okay, he's going to try his computer. So we got a couple more minutes before that. If not, we'll go ahead and get Mike on just via the telephone. But for those of you who want to chime in, leave a message here. We are also, like I said, on YouTube Live. Leave a message on YouTube. Leave a message like Tommy did in the in the comment section. And he's talking about the bye week, Tommy is, and he hopes it helps him out. I think this bye week, Tommy, is going to help the Buccaneers out a lot. I really do. This is a time to reflect. There's not many times in a season where you get a bye week. Okay, hold on. Hold on one sec, guys. As Mike is asking me to do something here. So let me go ahead and try to do this real quickly. Stay with me, folks. All right, I apologize about this, folks. I don't want to share it that way. All right, let me see if I can send this to Mike real quick so he can come on his computer. All right. All right, so we'll give him a couple more minutes. I apologize about that, folks. He's just trying to get on right now. But, I think the Bucs will come out well. I think the Bucs are rested. I think they had time to reflect. I mean, like I said, it's not many times you get that opportunity to have that bye week in a 13th week of a season, which in this case for the Buccaneers just happens to work out perfect. Basically, if the Bucs can win the next 3 out of 4, they write their ticket to the playoffs. They write the tickets to the playoffs, and it looks like they will play the winner of the NFC East to, could be Philadelphia, the Giants, Washington, Dallas, whoever it might be. That is the team that it looks like they are going to play. So, we'll take it from there, but we got Minnesota first thing. Obviously you got to stop Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, you got to force him to make mistakes. Kirk Cousins, real simple. If you go in there, you put a little bit of pressure on him, he's going to make mistakes. And not only are they going to be mistakes, but they're going to be costly mistakes. That's what Kirk does when he gets pressured. So I'm very interested in seeing this refreshed defense, the front seven of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after having a week off, actually an entire week off where they didn't even practice, on how they'll do come this Sunday. So I think they will be good. If you didn't hear, Jaden Mickens, not a huge deal, was let go today by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he will no longer be with the Buccaneers. They signed another gentleman, not to the practice squad, so we'll see how those things work out. But I'm really looking forward to it. We're about 2-3 minutes away from having Mike Easler on with us. I'm doing a quick check, see whether we got to do the phone or how it's going to work out. So we'll give him a couple of seconds here. So please continue to leave some questions. Actually, we're about to get him on right now. So let's go ahead and take a quick look over here. And ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor, thrill, and of course, always a pleasure to introduce to you. We knew him as the Hitman during the 70s and the 80s. Let's welcome in at this time Michael Easler as we pull him up and on video right now. There he is. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Fine. How you doing? I got to get the light on. How you getting along? Good?
I'm doing good. Now, anytime that you think I look familiar to you, you tell me, and I'll tell you where from. How's that? I lost your voice. Let's see what happened. There you are. Can you hear me now?
I hear you clearly.
Okay, there we go. You were muted for some reason.
Okay.
But if anytime you look at me and say, man, that guy looks familiar, just a little bit older than the last time I saw him, I'll tell you where from, okay?
All right. We're going to figure it out.
All right. Before the show ends, I'll tell you, okay? Hey, Mike, let me ask you this. Here's a guy, meaning yourself, that, was working on getting to the major leagues. And there was about a good, I remember in the, I want to say it was the 70s, if I'm correct, where you had this period of time where you were going up and down from major league team to minor league team to major league team till right around 1980. And then you finally made it to stay. Talk about those years in the minor leagues. And did you ever get to the point as somebody that played that long in the minor leagues that, that you thought about maybe this isn't for me, or did you always know that your time was going to come?
Well, Larry, I think it had to be my 10th year in the minor leagues. I think it was 1978. I was told by the Pirates that I was going to make the 25-man roster. Chuck Tanner had me send my car and my clothes, my wife's clothes to Pittsburgh. And the very last game of the season, we were playing Boston, and I lost the ball in the sun for the last out of the spring training game. And I went home. I said, Brenda, I kind of get a gut feeling something's going to happen tomorrow. I got to the ballpark early that morning, and Chuck Tanner did call me in the office. He said, Mike, we're going to make a change. We're going to go with 14 pitchers or 15 pitchers instead of, an extra hitter. I said, well, Chuck, I sent everything to Pittsburgh. I sent my car, my clothes, my wife's clothes. He said, well, I'm sorry. You got to go report AAA right now, this morning. I said, no way. I said it to myself. I didn't say nothing to him. But I went home, told my wife, went home very dejected. Very last day of spring training, 78. So I got a plane ticket for my wife, sent her back to Texas, and I got a plane ticket to Cleveland, Ohio, where I grew up. And I went home, and that's when I was really thinking about my 10th year in the minor leagues. It was my 6th year. I mean, well, going into my 6th year at AAA, and I was just totally frustrated. But you know, I got home. My dad had a lot of choice words for me about joining the team back, and you're a baseball player, and there's no quitting our attitude in our family. And he gave me, I mean, he used some other words that were kind of, I can't repeat now. He said, if you don't get your butt back to the minor leagues, and the AAA team was in Columbus, Ohio. So I was in Cleveland, so it was easy for me, you know, to jump on a plane and get to Columbus about a week later. I sat out about a week though. I went home about a week. When I got back, I was fined like $2,500. I forgot, maybe more than that. I got fined and everything, but I went on and joined the team in Columbus, Ohio, and I ended up winning another batting title that year. I hit .330 that year with 18 home runs in Columbus, Ohio.
Right. Now that you finally get your opportunity and obviously you make the most of it, let's talk about the 1979 team. I mean, when you do get called up, you get an opportunity first. You get an opportunity, and it just works out that the team ends up winning the World Series as you're a part-time player. I mean, it's one thing you first, you know, it wasn't even a complete year yet for you, and here you are, you know, doing something that people play their whole career for and can't even get. How special not was just winning the World Series, but that team, Mike, was incredible. I mean, you had Bill Madlock, Willie Pop Stargell, Cobra, you know, Dave Parker on that team. Of course, Omar Marino, Bill Robinson. I haven't even named the great pitching staff when I believe Bibby was there, Ken Tocoli was there, Rodin was there. I mean, how special was that team?
Well, as a matter of fact, the following spring training, I went to camp with the Boston Red Sox. Halfway through spring training, I got a call from the general manager of Boston, Lou Gorman, I believe his name was. He said, Mike, we traded you back to the Pirates. I said, what? And I was having a good spring with the Red Sox. And I'm thinking about that American League. I can DH, you know. I said, it's right where I belong. But it just wasn't my time for Boston to be there. So I said, okay, well, Brenda, I called my wife. I said, Brenda, we're going back to Pittsburgh. I said, you know, we're going back to the minor leagues for another year. You know, and I was so worried. I said, well, there's nothing we can do about it. I'm under contract. I got to do what they told me. They traded me to the Pirates. But as soon as I walked in the clubhouse, it seemed like arms was open for me. Chuck Tanner called me in the office. He gave me a big hug. He said, welcome back. He said, now, I know last year, you know, you were disappointed. You know, you didn't make the ball club, and we went with an extra pitcher. He said, but next year, you're going to be on this. I mean, this year, you're going to be on the ball club. He said, get your clothes ready because we're going to Puerto Rico for an exhibition game. And when I made that exhibition game to Puerto Rico, I knew that I was going to be on the ball club. And let me tell you something. It's like the heavens open, it was just a whole different feeling being around all these great athletes, as you say, Parker, Stargell, Madlock. Madlock wasn't there yet. I think we traded for him late on in the season. Bill Robinson, John Milner. I mean, these guys are great. I mean, I've been reading about them. I've been looking at them every day in the box scores. And finally, I was on the club as a 25th, you know, as the fourth or fifth outfielder. And I made the ball club as a pinch hitter.
Now, you know, like you said, some of these great players, and I have to ask you this question because you've had the opportunity to play with many great players. But one of the players that I always look at, that I always thought, and of course, I don't vote on it, but that should be in the Hall of Fame was always Dave Parker. And he's never made it in there. I mean, he was probably by far had during that era arguably one of the strongest, if not the best arms in right field, in the outfield. He could hit the ball. He was a .290 hitter. I mean, yes, he was shy of that magic number 3,000, just shy of 400 homers. But in your opinion, do you think Dave should at least be considered for the Hall of Fame?
There's no doubt in my mind, as well as other people's mind, that Dave Parker is a Hall of Fame player. You know, in the middle 70s, he had wanted to be one of the greatest athletes that ever played the game. Offensively, defensively, he had one of the great arms. He had an arm that, very similar to Roberto Clemente's. He ran the bases well. He hit for power. He won a couple of batting titles. And on the field and in the clubhouse, he was one of our leaders. And he showed that throughout his career when he went to Cincinnati and he went on to Oakland. Dave Parker was one of the greatest players that I ever played with. To me, I used to just watch him, how he went about his work and how he applied himself on the field. No winning attitude. I mean, the thing about it is, every day he got to the field, he was prepared to play baseball. No excuses. He played injured, had bad knees, hurt his arm. I remember he pulled his groin muscle a couple of times, but never missed a game. I watched him in the trainer's room with big ice packs on his knee. But then when you see him in the game, it looked like he was perfectly healthy. I said, I don't know how this man does it. But Dave Parker, to me, definitely should be a Hall of Fame ball player.
Now, Mike, for those that don't know, how did you get the nickname the Hitman?
That's a good one, Frank. That's a good one. During the year in 79, when we about 3 weeks to a month into the season, they were about to make a change and bring up another pitcher. And in my mind, I said, oh, no, hope that's not Mike Easler again, being sent back to the minor leagues for the 11th year. And we were playing the Mets. Now, against the Mets, the game was tied. Whatever the score was, it was tied in the 13th inning. Chuck Tanner had not used me yet as a pinch hitter. And I was in the clubhouse going crazy up there in Pittsburgh. And finally, they brought in Craig Swan. You remember Craig Swan?
Oh, yeah, for the Mets, yep.
Yep, he threw hard right-handed from like 3/4, and the ball just exploded. And he came in the 13th inning, and I was up on the, watching the game in the clubhouse, studying because I was ready. I was preparing myself to pinch hit. And finally, Bob Skinner called me down. Mike, it's your turn. It's time for your pinch hit. I said, it's about time. It's my time. So I went there. I was seething mad. I was so upset that they wouldn't use him until the 13th inning. Matter of fact, I think he pinch hit 2 pitchers before me. Rick Rhoden and Don Robinson pinch hit before I did. I was so upset. So the very, very, very first pitch I seen, Craig Swan threw about 95, 96 fastball, bam, first swing, bam, hit it right to the back of the Three Rivers Stadium, pinch hit home run, won the ball game. A week later, we go to Atlanta, and I'm having dinner with my older brother, and we kept talking. You hit that home run last week. You got to keep this up. Because at that time, people could come in the clubhouse. My brother used to come in the clubhouse, and everybody's calling, hey, Easy, because Mike Easler, Easy rhymes with easy. He said, man, you ain't easy. I said, you got to tell them your name ain't easy no more. Tell them your name is the Hitman. I just can't change my name, Teddy. My brother's name was Teddy. He said, yes, you can. I said, you're in the entertainment business. You can do what you want to do. So that night, we were playing Atlanta, and I was playing New York again, excuse me. And I hit another pinch hit home run a week later against the Mets. And Chuck Tanner heard me in the interview saying, I'm not easy no more. My name is the Hitman. And when Chuck Tanner came and patted me on the back with the writers there, he said, yeah, you are the Hitman. And from that day on, the nickname stuck for me pinch hitting. And that's how I got the name Hitman. And finally, I got a chance to play, and I could really hit. They didn't know that. I could really, really, really hit.
Now, Mike, you got the pleasure of playing in Yankee Stadium and also, of course, Fenway Park, which obviously was very favorable to left-handed. I was always told it's favorable to left-handed hitters if you don't think about it. if you start thinking about it, obviously it could become an issue. I mean, did you find out playing in both those ballparks were beneficial to you as a hitter?
I believe if I would have played my whole career in Boston, I would have got 3,000 hits between me and you. I believe that ballpark was made for left-handed hitters. Reason: you're looking at the green monster every time you go to bat, left-handed hitter. The green monster is 300 feet away, whatever, but it's really, really, really high. But it didn't make a difference. So therefore, in my batting stance, if you notice my stance, I was always kind of in a crouch and kind of coiled in. My front shoulder's kind of in. I went to home plate trying to drive the ball off the green monster, which made me stay on the pitch longer. You see my front shoulder on that one? And it made me stay on the ball longer. I went there trying to hit the wall, which made me a better hitter because when I went to Yankee Stadium, now the short pitch is in right field. All of a sudden, you start opening that shoulder too quick, and you come off of balls. And roll over to second base, you hit weak pop-ups in the infield until I made the adjustment in Yankee Stadium. Then I said, forget it. I'm just going back to my same Fenway Park swing, straightaway center, and I ended up hitting 300 my first year with New York. But my first season in Boston, I hit 313, I believe, with like 27 home runs.
Yeah, 27 homers.
That was that ballpark was made for me. Ted Williams, Fred Lynn. If you notice, Bernie Carbo had a good inside-out swing. All these guys that, left-handed hitters, man, Wade Boggs was a great hitter there in Boston. But when you go to Yankee Stadium, left-handers have a tendency to try to pull the ball, which if you're not disciplined, it will put you in a slump.
Now, Mike, how was it playing? I mean, you had a lot of great coaches, but how was it like playing for Billy Martin?
Larry, I never really got a chance to play a full season with Billy. Billy came over there. I played for Lou Piniella the 2 years I was there. He was my manager. Billy Martin came back in there in 88.
Right.
Yeah, he came back in 88, but he was there earlier. Now, my brother-in-law, Cliff Johnson, my wife's brother, played for Billy Martin. So I really don't know Billy that well. I just went to spring training. That was my very last year in the big leagues. Well, I went to spring training, and I ended up 1988 retiring, and I ended up going to Japan for 2 years after that. So I had a chance to go to the spring training with Billy, but never played under Billy.
Right. And you know how I remember that? I was with you.
You were?
Yes.
Bless your heart. Isn't that beautiful? Were you?
I wasn't playing. I was working with you. I was actually, one of the guys on the field with you, chucking the ball with you,
yes.
Having catch with you, putting batting practice under the cages. And so that's how I knew you were there when Billy was there, because that's when I was there.
1988.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? It's a small world, isn't it?
Yep. So I said, that's how I remembered. I remembered you. I mean, we talk all the time, you and I. I mean, we just in the, about whatever. But
yes.
You, Gary Ward, Ricky Henderson.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And so I remember. Oh yeah,
that year. What happened? Jose Cruz was there.
Good buddy of mine. We became good friends there.
Really nice guy. I love Jose Cruz.
He had an unbelievable spring that year, remember?
Yes, and that's what got me traded. I mean, got me
right.
Because he ended up being the extra DH or whatever he was, because he was at the end of his career too. But I went on to Japan and played 2 more years and did pretty good, and I hung it up in 1990.
Now, what was it like? I always wonder this because you get so many successful ball players that have played over in Japan. What is the game in Japan like compared to the major leagues here?
Well, obviously, major league is tougher. Pitchers are better, consistent, threw harder. Bullpens threw real good. We played more of a wide open game, meaning hit for homers, doubles. Japan played more of a careful game, meaning you get a guy on first base, you bunt him over, and you try to hit a sacrifice fly. They did a lot of bunting there and a lot of fundamental what you call small ball,
Mm-hmm.
that we call small ball over here. Now they had great arms over here. They had good infielders, good defense. They really, you really talk about good defense and just staying in the game. They played so many close ball games. Pitchers threw a lot of pitches over there, so they stayed in the game longer. And they didn't use the bullpen as much in Japan. But boy, they had some talented players over there. And it's starting, in the last decade or two, it's starting to show that Japan has some really, really good athletes over there. Mm-hmm.
Now, Mike, you obviously was a designated hitter at one time. Yes. And you see what some of the changes they implement into baseball because of your success, that you had staying in the major leagues, part of that as a designated hitter. Are you in favor of both leagues using it or for them to keep it the same as it is right now?
Larry, I hear a lot about that. To me, I played in National League. I played in the American League. I love the National League, different brand of baseball, faster game, more strategic, more moves the manager got to make. I kind of enjoyed the National League when I was younger and didn't mind playing the outfield. But as I got older and my legs and back weren't as strong as they were running around, I thought American League was great to go over there and DH. I think they just keep it both just like it is and just switch it maybe in the World Series, maybe at the National League Park. I think that's what they do now.
That's what they do now, yeah.
American League, you use it. So I think it's just to stay the same, just for the mystique of it, if nothing else. I like to see it stay the same. I like National League Baseball. I like it when the pitcher hits it earlier, and just a lot of different, strategy to go along with National League Baseball.
Mike, do you miss the small ball game? Like the game they play today is obviously hit a home run or strike out. In your days, it was all about having the ability to hit the ball, not just even though you could hit the long ball, you could also hit the ball. Do you miss the old school type ball game?
I do. I think they may see it maybe in Chicago this year.
Right, with La Russa.
Exactly, with Tony coming back. Dusty Baker kind of stays with that kind of game, kind of, sort of. They use the whole field. They hit behind the runner. They use the hit and run. Obviously button guys over when they really need it. That's just baseball. Just seeing them guys. And as a hitting coach, I'm watching these guys taking them big swings over and over. Guys in scoring position taking that big home run swing. When they get 2 strikes, taking them big home run swing. To me, that's not baseball. That's selfish ball. They just try to put up numbers to get paid.
Right.
Other hitting coach, I put it this way. The guys who can hit home runs would be swinging for home runs. The guys who had to get on base would be trying to get base hits and choking up a little bit and going the other way and learning how to bunt. If I was a batting coach in the major leagues now, and I just say you got to know who you are, what you're capable of doing, and stay within your realm. Don't try to be a home run hitter because you hit 12 or 15 home runs one year. That's not a home run hitter. You're a line drive hitter. 20, 25, 30 home runs. Back in our day, when you hit 20 plus home runs, you were a bona fide home run hitter, not 10 or 15 by luck.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. In your 15-year career, if you have to look back from your debut, I believe, which was with the Astros, to your last at-bat, might have been with the Yankees, I'm not sure. But when it came, what is the one memory that sticks out the most to you?
In my career?
Yeah.
Being named to the 1981 All Star game in my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio.
And that had to be special. A lot of fans.
That was so. And if you remember that year, 1981, we had a lockout that year.
It was the shortest season.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
The lockout, I think we missed like 2 months out of the season. And the first game back was the All Star game in Cleveland, Ohio. That's the one I made. And that was my hometown, my whole family, my father, mother, everybody was there to see me play. And that's the only All Star team I ever made. Dallas Green picked me as an extra outfielder. And Dallas Green, every time I saw him after that, before he passed, I used to hug him and say, "Thank you, Dallas. I really appreciate it." He said, "Mike, you deserve it." And I never forget Dallas Green ever. He picked me for my only and one and only All Star game in 1981 in my hometown. We had like 75,000 people out there that game. Beautiful.
Now, was that still Municipal Stadium?
Yes, the old Cleveland Stadium.
Old Cleveland Stadium. That's right.
Yeah. We had a whole lot of people. Matter of fact, we had about 5 or 6 Pirates that made that team. Parker made it. Madlock made it. I believe Phil Garner made it, and myself. Yeah, we had about 5 Pirates that made that 81 All-Star game that year.
Yep, that was still a good team back then.
Oh man, we had a good team. Yeah, we still had a good team. We had injuries. We had some guys hurt, so that's why we didn't win. Because that following year in '80, when I finally got a chance to play '80, we had a real good season, but guys got hurt down the stretch, whereas Philadelphia kind of snuck it out on us, and I think they beat us about 3 or 4 games. But we had a great team then in '80, the next year. I think Parker got hurt down the stretch, and Willie hurt his knee or something like that. And our pitching, I think the pitching was kind of hurting. But we still only ended up about 3 or 4 games out that year. Philadelphia beat us, like the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yep. Well, listen, my friend, I want to thank you so very, very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on Frankly Speaking Sports tonight.
Well, I truly enjoyed it, Frank. I mean, I'm still coaching. I'm still teaching privately here in Las Vegas. I work with kids all the time. I'm enjoying it. I work with Mo Vaughns. Mo Vaughn has a batting academy in
right.
Florida.
Familiar with that.
So I do a lot of work with him. And as a matter of fact, I'm in the process of writing the book. And this book biography should be out probably within the next, I believe, 6 months or so. Like the middle of next year, I should have my book out. And I'm not sure the name of it. It's going to be about the Hitman. And all the stories we talk about, it's going to be in there. I mean, I had 10 years in the minor leagues. Actually, people don't realize I had 10 years in winter baseball, too. So I was playing 10 years nonstop from 18 to 28 years old. And then I finally got the break at, the year 79. That's the year we won the World Series. It was like a miracle. My first 4 year in the big leagues, we won the World Series.
And, ironic story, you talk about it being a small world, how you and I first met. When you were with the Yankees during that spring, back in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because that's where we had, as you know, spring training for the Yankees back then on Commercial Boulevard. Well, I went to college just south of where it was, St. Thomas University.
Really?
Well, I met this young first baseman while I was in college with the baseball team who was playing first base. You might know him from Seton Hall. His name was Mo Vaughn. So Mo Vaughn, your last year, was just finishing up college.
Isn't that amazing? Let me tell you something. Me, Mo, I just left him this weekend. I went down to Boca Raton. We're working on we're working on the video and an iPod or something like this to go with on hitting. And Mo Vaughn, when I got a chance to work with him in Boston, it seemed like our personalities just mixed instantly. And one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He has a son now that's 8 years old that's playing. Mo said, "I don't want nobody else coaching my son but you." So he flies me down to Boca Raton to work with his little son. Matter of fact, his son's name is Leroy Vaughn. As I think he named after his dad. And his son is 8 years old, playing club ball. He's the only 8-year-old. No, I think there's 2 other 8-year-olds on the team. He's about 85 pounds and hit his first home run the other day, Saturday, over the right field fence at 8 years old and 85 pounds. It was an amazing thing to see. And Mo,
you're a lefty hitter, I bet.
Oh, man, he's going to be a good hitter. He's not a big kid. He's 85-pound, little skinny dude. Man, this boy hit that baseball, and we got him locked in. Mo has me teaching him like I taught him when he was in the big league. I said, Mo, he's just 8 years old. But the kid is going to be a really, really good player. He's a nice kid. But Mo Vaughn and me are good friends to this day.
That's awesome. That is great. All right, my friend. Well, you have a great, great holiday. Stay safe out there, okay?
I will, Larry. You too. And God knows, bless all these people. that's being sick and dying from COVID. It's just a sad time, and it's really, we need to pray for a lot of families, that's losing people and people falling prey to that virus. I mean, really, it's all we can do is pray and just hope that it doesn't touch us. That's all you can do.
I completely understand. Well, if you need anything, I'm always here for you, Mike.
All right, Larry. Enjoyed talking to you. I enjoyed this very much.
Me too. Thank you. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. That was the great Hitman, Mike Easler. Played with the Yankees, most noticeably the Pirates. Had a great year in Boston as well with the Red Sox. A lot of people forget that. He was a DH for the Red Sox, and I think he smacked out like 27 homers, 90 RBIs, batted either between 270 and 290. Just an incredible year when he was in Boston. And whoa, was it great to see him again. Memories, I tell people, I can never take away those great memories I had. Even though it wasn't for a very long time, what was it, 2 months that I had some of the greatest memories I had when I had an opportunity to work with the New York Yankees. So, I do want to remind a couple things. We're going to get into this controversial thing, but I do want to remind all you Buccaneer fans that are going to the Buccaneer game this Sunday. What an incredible event we have going on with What the Buck Really Matters. It's their 10th, I almost said mine, their 10th annual toy drive where you bring a new unwrapped toy to donate to the tailgate party on Ohio Street or Avenue, right across from the stadium. You drop it off there, and this, understand we're going through a time now where a lot of families are hurting. Some have lost their jobs, some are not able to provide the great Christmas they have been able to provide in the past. And it's really affecting them in a very depressing way. Well, here's an opportunity to hurt. I'll be okay. Here's an opportunity to take that hurt away and help someone by donating a toy. An unwrapped toy, you bring it there, you drop it off to the tailgate party, and you are going to trust me when I say this. There is no doubt about it that you will bring a smile to a child's face this holiday season. And that's what it's all about. Bringing a smile to a child's face during the holiday season. I want to thank everybody in advance who has already donated and who is going to continue to donate in this upcoming week. Please stop by if you have any more questions, concerns, thoughts about this, or how you can get involved. You can either go to the truthforlife.com website or What the Buck, and I'm sure Rob Thompson will be able to direct you to the right people in order to make this happen. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much, all of you, for getting involved. Now, we talked earlier about, I want to get into this before we give the end of the show, but this was a play that happened yesterday. And for those of you that did not get the opportunity, let me break it down in a real quick synopsis for you. Yesterday, it's the Raiders versus the Jets. The Jets are up. The Jets are winning. Let me see if I have. Yeah, okay. The Jets were winning. All they had to do was stop the Oakland Raiders from scoring a touchdown, and this game is over. The New York Jets get their first win. But not so fast, folks. Let's see what happened on this.
Jets coming. Carr puts some air under it. Wide open is Ruggs for the touchdown. Miraculous.
Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and watch that one more time.
Jets coming. Carr puts some air under it. Wide open is Ruggs.
Just an unbelievable play. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, calls an all-out blitz, sending everyone, keeping one-on-one, then playing one-on-one. He does a quick fake move, Ruggs does. Henry Ruggs gets open for the touchdown. Now, everybody knows it doesn't take your football genius to know in that situation, you play deep, and by no and if or but do you ever allow the receiver to get behind you. You play some type of zone defense where you allow him the ability to catch the ball in play. If you play the sidelines, allow him to catch that ball in play, what happens then is the clock will probably run out and the New York Jets win the ball game. That did not happen. Everything hit the fan today. Today, Greg Williams fired, but Adam Gase keeps his job. And this is the issue I have with this. Okay, I've never been an and he was with the Miami Dolphins. Yet, here's a guy that pretty much sells out his defensive coach. Let me make something clear. Yes, that is the call of the defensive coordinator. But at the end of the day, if you do not like what your defensive coordinator is calling as a head coach, you have that right to overrule it. You knew what he was calling, and yet you allowed it. And then when he got burnt on it, you threw him to the wolves to get eaten up alive. And it's just terrible, terrible. It was terrible. But, if anybody knows Greg Williams, two things I can tell you for sure. Greg Williams did not do that on purpose. He did not go ahead and intentionally lose that game. Anyone that knows Greg Williams, that has had Greg Williams on his staff, knows that is not Greg Williams. They also know that Greg Williams is a very aggressive type defensive coordinator, and that's the type of plays he calls to try to win games. Does it surprise me he called it? It surprises me at the time that he called it because it was, not really a difficult decision. But at the end of the day, no, that's what Greg Williams does. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying he made the right call. We all know he made the incorrect call. But for Adam Gase to be a wimp and to be, I don't want to say the word on the air, but let's just say doesn't have no shenanigans because he sells out his coach. And at the end of the day, if anybody on that entire staff should have been fired today, it should have been Adam Gase. Adam Gase, by no way, shape, or form, should still be a head coach in the National Football League. Like I said, there is no way in my heart that I believe Greg Williams threw that game on purpose. That's not Greg Williams. Number two, Adam, how can you tell a guy who's on your bench, who's playing his heart out to try to win a position in Sam Darnold, to not play your heart out because you want another quarterback who's going to replace him? Believe me, I'm not a Sam Darnold fan either. But at the end of the day, that's a classless act. I know that, how do we know? We know that it was the wrong call. Adam Gase knew that it was the wrong call. And I guarantee you, I can't sit here and say Adam Gase knew what was going to happen on that play. But for him not to change that call and then to put all the blame on his defensive coordinator is completely ludicrous, completely wrong, and is unnecessary. And if anyone deserves to be fired, Adam Gase needs to go in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you about a few things. Tomorrow night, join us on YouTube Live. That's right, YouTube. Okay? For Bullseye. You'll also be on our Bullseye Network on Frankly Speaking Sports tomorrow night. What a great, great show for you we have. First, we're going to have Bill Lear. Bill Lear is the first basketball player to ever sign a scholarship at USF during the 1970 and 71 season. He will be joining us live and telling us about USF basketball back then. And guess what? Excuse me. It wasn't called the USF Bulls back then. We'll tell you what it is tomorrow. Also, we'll talk about the huge big win from the USF women's team beating number 6 Mississippi State. Oh, baby, what a game that was. I got to watch it on ESPN Plus. Got so pumped up, I re-listened to it on Bulls Unlimited. Oh, baby, it was awesome. Lisa Pinzon was just amazing, this woman was. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists for the women's Bulls team. 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Then, of course, Betsy Manunga had 12 rebounds. This team was for real. And I want to thank, I know a lot of people complimented me on our Bullseye show last week about how accurate we were about them going to be able to handle Mississippi State like they did. You know, this is a great team. Coach Fernandez has this team playing well, and we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail tomorrow night on Bullseye with our host, Bradley Lewis Walker. Also, we're going to have the rundown on the men's game tomorrow. They play, guys. They beat FGSU, part of Gulf Coast. They beat them, and now they play Stetson tomorrow, 5 p.m. A big game for them as they get ready for conference play coming up next week. So we will bring you the update and the latest scores on that game. It will be over by the time we air our show tomorrow night. So we will go ahead and give you the recap on that. Once again, we do want to congratulate Coach Fernandez on just an incredible win. Oh my goodness, it was awesome watching that. Tomorrow night, Bullseye, 9 p.m. Then let's not forget, you come back Wednesday. What a show we have for you on Frankly Speaking Sports. Frankly Speaking Sports is proud to announce that on this upcoming Wednesday, we will have Chris Gronkowski, who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, will be joining our show. Now, that name Gronkowski might sound familiar to some of you people in the Tampa Bay area, and it should, because he is the brother of tight end of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rob Gronkowski. So he'll be joining us live, and we already got commitments for next week, folks. Monday night, 6 days from now, the voice of your Tampa Bay Rays, Dave Wills, will be joining us. So just an incredible weekend lineup from Frankly Speaking Sports. Continue to join. Continue to follow us. We love having you. Also, we want to once again thank our very special guest tonight, the Hitman, Mike Easler, former World Series champion for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1981 All Star, and he also played for the Yankees. He played for the Boston Red Sox, among some other teams. I want to thank him very much for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night, and we'll